Thank you for joining us for another episode of Think Your Way to an Epic Life. And my guest today, Jen, is so fun. We have a great conversation ahead for you. She has dealt with serious trauma in her life. And the best way to help someone else is if it's something you've gone through. And so she has created this incredible tool. You have to listen to this podcast. This tool is amazing, and it will help kids. It will help first responders. It will help a lot of people. Check it out. Let us know what you think. So, Jen, tell me a little bit about Moody.
Sure. So Moody is a part of my healing journey that has really helped me to cross many paths that have been, kind of held back for me. I created Moody out of my own frustrations with my complex PTSD and depression. And I was in a therapeutic group one day and I said, I wish I had a monster that I could rip apart and throw across the room and bang against the walls. And people in the group were like, yeah, you should have that. So I went home, and I'm not a seamstress, I'm not a tailor at all, but I put together this, kind of ragtag plush monster. And I created the body parts with Velcro so that I could rip the monster apart. And it really helped me out a lot. I was using, at the time, I called them PTSD Pete, but it was really very helpful for me when I was getting very frustrated. I needed to let out some, anxious energy, that kind of thing. And I thought this could probably help other people. This is something that could help children to learn how to cope with their emotions in a safe way. So I put together a whole package, and I went to an entrepreneur group. They're a nonprofit entrepreneur group, and they let me into an accelerator program. And this was during COVID. So it was like I had something to do during COVID. So it was great. I was able to build on my what I wanted to do, and I created Moody in this accelerator group. And so I've been working for years. Finally got a prototype that I was very happy with. And as I was doing this, waiting for my doll, I started to think, well, what can I do in the meantime to help others when, I'm waiting for the product that I could give to others? So I created Moody Talks on my YouTube channel. And that has really helped me a lot because I was looking back into the coping skills that I had learned through a therapy called DBT. And it really has helped me to grow in my own healing journey because I'm, you know, repeating the information out to the world and teaching others about the coping skills that have helped me. So, really, Moody has become a love language for me to my own healing.
That is beautiful. You said complex PTSD. Can you explain to the common person like myself what is the difference between regular and what did you say, complex?
Yes, yes. So a social worker introduced me to the understanding of this in a really great way. So this is how I usually tell people. So imagine that you're in a car accident, a bad car accident, and someone got hurt or you got hurt. And after that, you had this overwhelming fear of getting into a car again. And you didn't want to get into a car as a passenger or as the driver, definitely not as the driver if you were the one who was in the accident. And over time, you're able to step back in, to work through the fear and the anxiety that comes with getting into a car. So you're working on, maybe one day you sit in the car, next day, you turn the car on, that kind of thing. So that is a single event that has created PTSD for you. So complex PTSD is when someone has lived a, a long time in a traumatic situation. And that's like childhood abuse, domestic violence, homelessness can create complex PTSD, and especially for veterans who have been in wars. So when you have complex PTSD, when you were in your trauma, your body changed, your body chemistry changed, your neurons in your brain changed because you were in constant, hyper focus, hyper vigilance. So it changed your body and your brain over time so that you feel that you are constantly living in a traumatic event.
Okay, that is a really, really good explanation. It's not something that just happened one time. It just keeps repeatedly happening over and over and over again.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
My one of my big I'm a big fan of Ed Milet, and he says quite often, the person you can help is the person you used to be.
Hmm.
How
Yes.
does that apply to your life?
So when I started my healing journey, what I did throughout my life, I kept saying not yet to my healing. I was a teenager when all this happened with my family. So I lived with my abuser, who was my father, for 14 years. And when my brother finally told a trusted adult, they, they got him out of our house. But you'd think that, once an abuser is taken from the home, that trauma is going to end for a child. But many times it doesn't. So I was next thrown into the trauma of the court system because I had to give the testimony to put my abuser in prison. The court system doesn't really help children a lot. Many times they won't believe what children are saying, which is very, very sad. And the specific DA that I had, my family had, she just treated us as though we were a pain in the butt, like that we were causing her some sort of, harm or something like that. And at one point she made me go in front of a grand jury and talk about intimate details about sexual abuse. So I didn't end, the trauma didn't end in childhood. It kept going through this court system. And so when everything ended with that, and my father went to prison, I started to just push away working on the trauma. I would say, not yet. I'm going to college. Not yet. I just started a career. Not yet. I have kids now, right? So I just kept pushing and pushing it off. And, at one point, my brain just stopped and said, right now. Right now is when you need to start this healing journey. No more pushing this away. So I needed to find the people that could help me get through this healing journey as safely as I could. And I did find an amazing therapist. And it's so interesting. My therapist is so much younger than me. And at first, when someone had recommended her, I was like, she's so young. She couldn't possibly help me, right? But honestly, she's a godsend because she has all of the tools and the therapies that she's learned in the past few years that maybe older therapists don't have, right? So she was absolutely like the best person to help me get through my healing journey. And she does a therapy called internal family systems. So, internal family systems is that you have different parts of yourself. And, like one of them is little Jen, it's your child self. So when you were talking about helping your past self, that's what we do in internal family systems is that we talk to little Jen and help little Jen through what she feels is, stopping her from growing.
Okay. So you're healing your internal child.
Yes.
So you said you kept pushing it off and pushing it off and pushing it off. And boy, I can relate. No one wants to deal with that ugliness. I believe probably everyone has things that they desperately need to deal with. And they're like, yeah, no. And I was like the poster child for that. What would you tell someone who has that now and is saying, nope, not yet, not yet? Do you wish that you would have done it sooner?
Yes, I do really wish I did because I went into motherhood without parental, people who had taught me how to parent in a safe and effective way and in a loving way because I lived in an abusive household. So having my own children, it was hard for me to trust my intuition because I had never had a parent teach me how to properly parent. So I would definitely say to anyone who is pushing off their healing journey, don't don't push this off because a healing journey isn't a beginning and end. You're always going to be on this healing journey and it's going to help you to be a better parent, to be a better spouse, daughter or son. You know, it's going to help you to better communicate your own feelings and your own emotions to others and be heard.
So that you can now be part of the solution and not part of the problem.
Yes.
Yes. And so your solution, this is super cool. This doll that you created that you can just rip apart. It's a monster and you can tear it apart and you can throw parts of it and you can do all that stuff. And you are looking to not just sell the doll for profit, but you're looking for people to donate so that you can give these dolls to police officers and people like that so that kids in trauma right now can have something.
Yes. Yes. So that is really a big part of what I want Moody to be. I want to be able to donate as many Moody's as I possibly can to first responders, to social workers, to hospitals with treatment centers, because kids that are in traumatic events need something to hold on to when they're going through this. They need a buddy to help them through. And, kids who are going to foster care, they only get like a bag to throw their stuff in, and then they're whisked away from their home. I'd like to be able to give them a Moody to help them be that buddy during transition. And again, their frustrations with this transition, Moody's there to let it all out in a safe way. And then that also communicates to the people who are the trusted adults around them that this child needs to talk about something.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think that most people realize that guys, seriously, kids when they get transferred, they don't even know it's coming. Whatever time of night it is, they're like, "Okay, come on, you got to go." And they give them literally a trash bag. So they're called trash bag kids, and that's all they have and they go to the next home and they have no idea what they're about to walk into. So this is beautiful. So how long has Moody been alive per se?
Alive as in like last prototype and testing. So last year I started testing and found so many people were really enjoying Moody. I gave them to families. I gave them to therapists and teachers too. And they have loved the concept of Moody. Therapists have found it really, really good for also helping parents to learn the dialogue they want to use with their children by Moody being like a little placeholder for them. And teachers love Moody because they put them in a safe space in the classroom. Kids can go and get out that frustration and then come right back to class and join the classroom again. So it's been helping so many people, and I actually sold out of my first batch, and I'm currently fundraising to order a very large batch of Moody's to get out into the world.
That is so cool. So can you tell us a story? You don't have to obviously give a name. We don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but can you tell us a story of what Moody has done for someone in particular?
Yes, absolutely. So so in general, a lot of children have found that when they are not able to verbalize how they're feeling, using Moody in any situation. Like I have one person who brings them in the car every day during school time so that when they pick up their kids and are going through transition, that has helped a lot for the kids to be able to transition from school to home and home to school because they're able to hold on to Moody, know that they're there for them. And, they're also excellent for travel too. I had one tester bring Moody with their family vacation to Disney World. And the travel, just having Moody there for travel time, getting on the airplane, it's been really helpful for parents, especially with autistic children, to give them a source, a place where they can let their parents know that I'm not doing so great.
Okay, so I should have prepared you for this, and we're gonna try it.
Okay.
What do you think of the movie Inside Out and Inside Out 2?
Okay, so I love it. I have not seen Inside Out 2. So that is an example of internal family systems. So all the different, individuals inside of Riley, that's like considered internal family systems. And I believe the person who wrote it had that in mind. So having all the different feelings and them being able to explain how Riley's feeling when Riley can't explain it herself. So it's a fabulous movie. I love the original. I have to get out and see the second one because my therapist actually told me it is so amazing. It's so
And I think they must consult with hundreds of therapists to do that movie. The second one goes so much further. It All these other emotions show up that puberty shows up and it's like, ah, the world is puberty.
yeah, from the little scenes that I've seen, it's really beautiful. It's a beautiful way to interpret our own sense of emotion and learning to cope with it with these little, emotions all running around inside of her. It's beautiful.
So, okay, so for someone who is struggling with, you know, depression or PTSD or any of these things, and they're just not dealing with it, they're just like, no, I'm not going to deal with that. And then something happens, and they go, okay, I have to face this. I've got no choice. I have to face this. Where do they start?
Well, I think that the most important thing to do, depending on the intensity level of, where your healing journey is you need to talk to someone. Getting out what is the main character of this trauma, learning to discuss these details with a person who is safe, like a therapist, a psychologist. I think it's really important. Talk therapy is the way that you are able to tease out the things that are there subconsciously because you're able to describe to a person who's not a part of your own world, right? They aren't in your world, they're separate from everyone else, and talk to them about what is bothering you, what you need to work on. That I think is the biggest help that you can get to start the journey.
I love your advice. Can you go a little bit further on why it needs to be someone that is totally separate from you instead of talking to your best friend or
Right. Well, the problem with talking with your best friend or your mother or, someone in your family or an inside group is that you won't give all of the information. You won't give the details because you don't want the person who's in your everyday life to know those things. I mean, there are times every parent has felt that they are not liking their child, right? When you can say that to a third party who's not in your life, you're able to say that genuinely and not hide how you're feeling. So it's really important for someone to have that outside, not influence, but just that person there that can guide them through what they're feeling because they've studied this. They've, worked with other people who are dealing with this. So I think it's really important to have someone outside of your life giving you the time to listen and to maybe give you help, like a helping hand on how to move forward with it.
okay. So how much do you think shame keeps people in their negative world and their messed up life?
Shame. Shame, shame, shame. This is something that many people who have experienced trauma have. Because especially with like a physical abuse, sexual abuse, that kind of thing. Shame always, when you've lived in this experience, this trauma, shame is a regular everyday thing that your abuser is going to put on you. So you start to believe that you're a bad person, and that's what toxic shame is. So, for example, my oldest, he had a lot of behavioral issues when he was young. He had, he just was a terror at times. He would throw things. He would be the Tasmanian devil. We'd have to hide in another room as he ripped apart the room. But at the very end of it, he'd be so sorry that he did it. And he would go into a shame spiral. That feeling of, oh, what I did was so wrong. And what I did is I'm a bad person for this. So the shame spiral, when it happens a lot for people, it turns into the toxic shame of believing that you're a bad person.
Right. And see, I think that a lot of times people don't deal with it and don't talk about it because they feel ashamed. Because they like, I can't tell you about that. I can't tell you about that. I can't tell you about that. And so let's just keep burying it. And then it comes back to you a lot of times in health issues that,
Mhm.
right. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, gut health. Throughout my whole life up until just recently, I would get very bad, like IBS symptoms. And it was the stress, it was the anxiety that came with that, the way that I was living, not giving myself my healing journey. It was when I got on my healing journey that I stopped having those like IBS responses, and I was able to relax a little bit more in my life. And I think that you're absolutely right. Shame keeps people from learning more about themselves and learning more about what happened that causes this for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think personally, one of my excuses for not dealing with it in the past was I felt like, and it was totally wrong, but I felt like I'm doing okay. And if I open that Pandora's box, I won't be okay anymore.
That's it. That's
Speak to
it.
that a minute.
Okay, yeah. We we don't like just let go of what's inside our bodies and ourselves, in our minds. It's always stored away somewhere in our head or in our body. And, it just needs to be let out. It needs to be let go. And if you're not paying attention to your brain telling you, I need help with this. This is stopping us from doing the things that we need to do. Um, one of the reasons why I didn't do my healing journey right away, again, I think I spoke on it before, but I was so afraid that I would not be able to do the everyday regular things. I'm a single mom and I had two boys, young boys when before I started the journey. And I was so afraid if I did that, I wasn't going to be able to do the mom things, that I was going to try to hide myself away in my bedroom and not come out. And what would happen to my children if I couldn't do that? If I opened Pandora's box, where is it going to put me with my responsibilities?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being so incredibly vulnerable because I really think what you just said, that right there is going to make a massive difference in someone's life. Someone who is going to watch this podcast or listen to it is going to say, I have been putting this off for that very reason. I've been scared to death that if I open it, then I'm going to be a basket case and you're going to have to, put me in an institution. And because that stuff was so bad, if I open it up, it's gonna take over again. And quite the opposite happened for you.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Because I knew my brain literally told me, you can't do anything. I had just had to close a shop. My shop, I'm a personal stylist as well, but I had a shop, a boutique, and I had to close it and go into bankruptcy. And that was a real trigger because I felt as though part of my personality was gone. Like part of me, I had to just close off and throw away. And my brain at that point was like, this is too much. You need to step back, take care of yourself, learn what you need to learn about yourself, and do this journey with all of your life. Just give it all to this journey. Yeah, and it's never going to be a linear healing journey. Healing is never linear. You're going to have a roller coaster ride. So some days you're going to feel great and you could take on the world. And then other days you're going to feel as though you just need to hide away for a little while, get under the sheets and just breathe. And that's okay. We need to give ourselves grace when we're feeling those low parts of the roller coaster and understand that it's not something that's going to last forever. Because again, it's a roller coaster and it's going to start going up and get to the top again.
And it definitely will. So please, guys, please listen to both of us who both put off our healing way, way, way longer than we should have. Please listen. The other thing that I would like to like throw out there is it, and this is just my personal opinion, that 80% of any profession is really not that good at it. 20% and above are very, very good at it. So if someone is going through this and they get one of the 80%, they get one of the like 5%, I'm only good 5% of the time, they're not going to have the experience that you have had or that I've had. How can they protect themselves and find the right help?
Oh, I've gone through many therapists, and there have been moments that I realized this person is not for me. This person isn't going to help me through this. And you're right. A good portion of people who go into their profession may not have that skill set, that natural ability as well to help you through and give you what you need from them. So if you're not feeling it with a therapist, that's okay. Move along. You'll find others. Also, you can go on to, you could, if you know a social worker, they're the best people to go to get recommendations. That's how I got my therapist, was through a social worker that I knew. If you have people who are in the field, they can give you recommendations because they know these people. And never, ever forget, if you're not feeling comfortable in a situation, you don't have to stay in it. People in trauma sometimes feel as though that's what they have to do. Oh, they'll help me. They'll get me through. But if you're not feeling it, don't stay.
Thank you. Thank you. And guys, please take that very seriously. Get advice, talk to people, if you were going to hire a realtor or a doctor or a lawyer, you would probably ask your friends about it. You're probably less likely to ask your friends about this because you don't want anyone to know. However, when you open that up, you'll probably find out that a lot of people are going through it. I mean, people getting therapy now is not, doesn't have the stigmatism that it did back in the past. It's just a smart thing to do.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. It's time to take the stigma away from people who need to work on their mental health. We all do. We all do. Whether you've been in a traumatic situation, whether you've had sad things happen, you need someone to talk to let out those things that are in your world that you don't want to tell your world.
Okay. Beautiful. All right. So what have I not asked you that I should have?
No, I think we had an amazing conversation. I think we got into a lot of great things. I think I think this is a great conversation.
Okay, very cool. And we have put all of your information at the bottom here. So guys, please click, please check out. If you're dealing with PTSD or complex PTSD, go check out her site because her monster will give you some insight, right?
Yes.
It's a beautiful thing. And if it's in your heart, guys, please feel free, go to the donate page and donate and help get some of these dolls out to kids that really, really need them. And you might need one too. Thank you, everyone, so much. Please, if this has blessed you in some way, please share it. Please comment. The best way, this is a podcast that you can listen to. It's also a podcast that if you want to interact with us, either one of us, just put comments in the YouTube channel, and Jen can answer those comments. I can answer those comments, and we would love to talk to you. So reach out if you have any questions. Share this podcast. Talk to us. We will talk back to you. Thank you so much.